You are watching UCU Focus TV.
Hello and welcome to Focus Point. My name is Patience Among and we're going to be talking about elections. The roadmap was released last week on Friday, 3rd October, and today with me in studio is the EC chairperson, Kwaje Agre Asunta. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
The President Abasogan Sete, Honorable John Albert Mwanika. You're most welcome.
Thank you so much for hosting me today.
As I said, the roadmap was released last week. Asunta, could you please tell us the highlights in the roadmap?
Okay, thank you so much and good evening to everyone. The highlights from the roadmap, of course, begins with the launch, which is happening the day after tomorrow. That's on 8th of October. So when the launch begins, everything on the roadmap begins. So the other highlight that I can give to the community of UCU is the voting date, which is on the 13th of November. So yeah, prepare to vote and be ready to choose your new leaders for the next Guild government. Thank you so much, and a lot of the things will come along the way. Yes.
Honorable Monica, do you think the roadmap is convenient?
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator, and I thank you for hosting me for today's show. Good evening to our viewers. Once again, my name is Monica, John Albert, the President Basogan City. Looking at the roadmap that was released of recent, I believe it's not going to be so convenient because the cycle is going to run through our coursework week. From 13th up to 22nd, we are most likely to have coursework. And the election roadmap, unfortunately, it is also going to be running in that same week. So I don't know how, especially those students are going to balance it up with the election roadmap plus their coursework. I don't know how the Guild government thought about that, but all in all, we shall go with the roadmap because this is always the time that the roadmap is always released. Though some changes came up, I thought maybe even the Electoral Commission would also make some changes. But perhaps I think they would have released the roadmap early enough, like our friends in Kampala campus, because their roadmap came out a bit earlier than ours. I think they had it in mind that we shall be having that coursework week because there's no way you expect someone to dedicate his time to politics when coursework is there. But leaving that aside, the roadmap is fair enough, I can say, for the start, because as the chairperson has said, the launch will be there tomorrow. Let's wait for the launch and we shall see how events shall be transversing because I've already seen people who have already showed their interest, who want to express their interest in contesting for the various positions that we might be, that have been released by the Electoral Commission.
Thank you so much. Asunta, could you tell us about the EC guidelines?
Yes, the Electoral Commission guidelines, first of all, are the things that you need to look at and see whether you fall within the required way of participating during the elections. For example, what are you supposed to do and what are you not supposed to do? Yes, so the EC guidelines are there to direct us. They are more of directives on your behavior, your conduct during the electoral process. So the EC guidelines have a lot of things in there. I would encourage all of us to take a look. But the most important is the fact that we are in UCU And one of the things that most of the times I have seen has been violated is the aspect of having posters put everywhere and all these things. So it has been very difficult to handle that, because you realize to the voters it's very important to have that, but considering the kind of environment that we do have, it is not acceptable. So it's going to be a hard to go thing to do for us, but we'll try our very best as well to consider and see how best we can make sure that UCU is maintained in terms of disposing rubbish, or for lack of a better word, the posters, the flyers, yeah. Where do we put them? How do we put them? Of course, we all use the posters. So that is one of the major things that is on the guidelines. But I will encourage each and every one of us to have a time and read through them, also the candidates, because it is very important. The fact that you break one will cost you your electoral process or your run is very important that we surely take a look at the guidelines. Thank you.
Just back to you. These guidelines have been broken before.
Yes.
Several times.
Yeah.
Do you think these candidates are going to follow these guidelines since they are not laws?
Like I said, it has been very difficult to uphold the guidelines, but we are looking at how best can we put them to life, how best can we follow them, how do you as a candidate want to keep at par with the Electoral Commission, because failure to follow the electoral guidelines is failure to comply to the Electoral Commission. So it is, yes, a very difficult thing. They have been broken before, but we are urging the candidates to kindly and respectfully follow these guidelines, because they are defining your way of the run during this process. So it's very important that we keep them, but also we are going to look at how best we can see that we work together with the candidates to comply and follow these electoral guidelines.
Honorable Monica, do you think the candidates will follow the guidelines since they have been broken before?
I am a person who strongly believes that these guidelines are always broken and the candidates will not follow it. I've been in the campaigns.
True.
But all I can assure you, these guidelines are broken and nothing can be done. That's what, so far for the few years I've been in UCU. Yeah, the guidelines are always there, but people always break them. And it is up to the Electoral Commission to make their stand, whether they will disqualify a candidate or not. But for the previous years, I've been in UCU. Those guidelines have been broken gravely, not even slightly, but gravely, and no candidate has ever been disqualified. So I don't know, this year maybe I think we should have we should have the hope the way Jesus promised us to come back. I think maybe Madam Sunta this side might be a very serious ECTR person, and I will be waiting for that time. But because it always comes back to us and the people who are contesting on whether to follow the guidelines or not. But my best advice would be, I would be happy if all the candidates follow the guidelines, because if we follow the guidelines, then it means we shall have a free and fair elections. But if we, the candidates, resort to breaking those guidelines, then it means we are going to take into another direction, because if you break the guideline, it means also the other opponent is going to break the guideline. So in that confusion, we end up having a very unfair election. Because if this one can break the guideline and the other one cannot break, of course the other one will be like, they are being unfair to me. The other one has broken the guideline and they have not done anything. Actually, the EC has to make its stand that if a candidate makes a guideline, then they should make a bold move, not just writing a letter, sugarcoating each and everything. If a guideline has been broken, you as the EC, you have a responsibility to make sure that you stand by your own guidelines that you yourselves made. Other than that, I have hope. We still have hope. That,
do you think the guidelines should be made laws so that people, because when you make a law, it's mandatory to follow it. The repercussions that if I break this law, I'm going to either be pushed out of the election or something. These are just guidelines, so people be like, oh, I can break it. Do you think they should be made laws?
I believe guidelines, however much you may say they may be made laws, but guidelines themselves as well, they are laws. Because if a guideline is there, it means the moment you're contesting for any position, of course you have to agree with the guidelines that the EC puts in place. Even if it tells you that you're supposed to meet one person at a time, it is a guideline, and should you break it, it means it's going to either lead to your disqualification or paying a fine. So it doesn't, of course, making laws, I think the electoral process in UCU, I think we need a review, and also making new electoral laws in UCU, because the way we conduct the elections in UCU, and if you're to compare it with the constitution, I think we carry out illegal elections, most of them. Because we operate under illegalities, because there is no way in our constitution that provides for an online election, but we do it. So basically everything has to be reviewed. The electoral process in UCU, everything has to be reviewed. Even if you're to look at the nomination, some of the things are not provided for, but we keep on doing them. So I will be very happy if these amendments come in, and if this thing is put up to date, because other than that, we are operating under illegalities, and one of the hardest things to petition is an online election. Moreover, for UCU, it is worse. What are you going to petition? Because all in all, the results are sure at the end. They will just show you have this percentage. So what are you going to base on to petition? So there are some things that for sure we need to revise in our guidelines and the laws that govern elections in UCU.
Okay, thank you so much. Assunta, what capacity is the EC building to ensure that the electoral guidelines will be followed as a must?
Thank you so much. The EC, of course, like I said, we are looking at a very free and fair election this time. The 27th Guild government is I don't know how to put a percentage, but we are 100% looking at how best we can have a very free and fair election. So whatever costs that it will take for the Electoral Commission to have a free and fair election, then we are going to go to that measure. And I have said this several times with friends or with people within the community, that this position that the EC is in right now is a very difficult one, because the EC literally almost works towards the end of the tenure of a government. So some of these things the government may look at and realize them while the term is coming to an end. But then I would also want to encourage whoever is out there and is listening to this or even watching, that there are a lot of things that, yes, the EC, like what my brother just said, that is not going right, is not constitutionally right. However, there is room for change. And like we know, the Constitution is right now going through amendments that were taken in, and we don't know how far the process is, but I can assure you that is being looked at. So whatever that the government needs, or whatever that was raised during the time of collection of information for the amendments, I pray that is going to be put into consideration, because these are some of the things that were raised and were forwarded for cause of amendment. So the measure that we will take to ensure that the guidelines or the election is going to be free and fair is 100%, because I personally, as an individual, I would not love to contain myself with an election that is not fair, because I am here to serve the community of Uganda Christian University and not to serve myself. But again, most of all is to serve God. So if God has called me to this place, I believe that whatever that wisdom that he gives to us to serve his people is what we are going to use. So we are going to try our very best and do our very best to make sure that we have a very free and fair election this time. Yes.
Still on you, Assunta.
Yes, please.
During campaigns, presidential candidates tend to go beyond. You see?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they tend to go beyond.
Okay.
Is that the way they are supposed to campaign, through the guidelines, or they break the guidelines when they are campaigning?
By the fact that you're saying they go beyond, is
like
of course
beyond
already not the way they are supposed to go. If something is beyond the guidelines, if something is beyond the expectations.
No, when I say beyond, I mean extravagantly beyond the campaigns of bringing cars, musicians, people help hype masters. Is that the way to go? Like, is that in the guidelines?
The guidelines prohibits intervention from the outside of Uganda Christian University participants. So that is not how it is supposed to be. But like for some of the governments, maybe these are some of the things that were broken and then underlooked. I would want to assure the community of UCU that these are some of the things that this time we are going to look at. Because it is very important, like what my brother said, if someone has not broken a regulation or a guideline and the other has broken and then they are still put at an equal pace, that wouldn't be a fair and free election. So to look at a fair and free election is to look at what have you broken which is not supposed to be broken, then what can we do for you? Is it for you to step down? If that is what it takes for you to step down, then you're going to have to step down. And if you are out there and you're planning to run, I will plea and beg and encourage you to really, really look at the electoral guidelines, because we are not going to take an oversight. We are not going to underlook anything. We are going to follow each of the electoral guidelines foot per foot.
Thank you so much. Honorable Monica, the presidential candidates have been one of the most people that have broken the guidelines. Do you think that this time round they will follow the guidelines?
Presidential candidates. I think it's not right to say that it's only the presidential
It's not
candidates.
only, but
Yes.
majority will only use posters, and I've not seen any MP before bringing hype masters to do it for them.
But Madam Moderator, politics is a game of numbers. So I will do everything possible for me to have the numbers.
You will do everything.
And when they say that you go and campaign, it means we are going to do what?
Everything.
Campaign. And if you're saying that the campaign should be strictly Uganda Christian University, then it means I can do everything possible in my means in Uganda Christian University to make sure that I go through, provided I am working in line with the EC guidelines. That is it. Even if it means doing even if it is me, I will do it to secure a vote. Looking on the other side of presidential candidates breaking laws and whatsoever, in an election that always happens. You can never say that you're going to run an election whereby no rule or guideline is going to be broken. They always happen. And it is very hard to avoid it. The only problem that we are having here, and I think even Madam Chairperson should know, it is because we don't do enough civic education and civic engagement and voter education. Because we only come to see elections and talk about elections when we are having less than a month the elections. So that time is not enough to educate people about elections, because people are excited. What are you going to tell them? All they want is victory. So the first thing the EC should have thought about is they should always indulge themselves into doing voter education and civic engagement. Because if you're to see, we don't even make 15% of the students who vote here in UCU when it comes to the elections. Last year, I think it was around 1,000 and something students that voted out of the 11,000. Which means only 10% of the students voted. So I think that's the first question Madam Chairperson would have asked herself. Why was there a low voter turnout last year? However much we had hype mans and everything, why did the students turn out in low numbers to vote? I think these are the things that you're supposed to ask yourselves, because if you're to see the Law Society elections, the previous election that was in that election, but the students who voted, they were around 1,000. And now the guild elections of last year also had 1,000 students, which means I can say that it is only the law school that votes. What are the other schools doing? So that's the first thing that the East Chairperson would have first looked at and would have emphasized on voter education and civic engagement. Because to be sincere, I have not yet seen a East official that they have tried to engage with people to educate them more about this these election periods. Because mainly government always focus on elections at the end of their regime. But these things are supposed to be done from the very beginning. You tell people what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to. But if we don't do this, we are most likely to always have voter turn up. For this year, I am not yet sure, but let's wait for the election day and we shall see the number that have turned up. But this is because of the insufficient voter education that they give for the people. And there is no civic engagement. Because I don't know, maybe if I was not in campus at any one time, but since I joined UCU, I've never seen any voter education or civic engagement, unless when it is a campaign period. UCU is, I think it's the only university that has elections from January up to November, because different associations vote in different semesters. But we realize that these elections always attract a very little number of students. Why? That's the question you should ask yourself. Because in January, we have associations that are voting, January semester. Even in the May semester, we have associations that are voting. In September semester, we also have more elections. But you realize that we have elections every semester, but few students turn up. Why? That's a question we should ask ourselves. And those are the things that Madam Chairperson would have been addressing, that, yes, I'm organizing a free and fair election, but are people going to turn up? Because you cannot say that you've organized the free and fair elections when only 10% have turned up. Why hasn't the 90% come to vote? So which means that the interests of the many are not being represented. I think that's the question that we should be asking ourselves. Why are students losing interest in going for elections? Yes, the candidates might be there. I can assure there are students in UCU. You approach them and tell them about election, they will be like, I can never vote. You cannot tell me anything about voting. Because that's the thing that we are supposed to address. If at all we don't do enough voter education and civic engagement, we are going to be having challenges. You hold your election. Yes, it might be free and fair. You may have credit, but what numbers have come? What amounts to a free and fair election? I also look at the numbers. If I have 10,000 students, and only 1,000 have come to vote, even if it's free and fair, people will ask questions. Why was there a low turn up? That would be the first question that people will be asking themselves.
Thank you so much, Honorable Monica. Let me turn to Asita. Why do you think few students vote in UCU?
Just from what you said, the civic education, of course, is not echoing so loudly. However, I would also say it is a system. UCU is a system, and UCU is an institution that has good systems, and a lot of things keep happening in and there. I will not say that the government or the Electoral Commission has not tried to see how best they can engage the community of Uganda Christian University. Personally, I can say we have tried to some level, and because results have not come out doesn't mean that people have not tried to do. And if I were in a position that is not the Electoral Commission, I would still ask the very same questions. However, being in the position that I am in and seeing what I have done and where things have failed, why they have failed, how they have failed, I can stand to say it is not 100% blame to the EC, because, like he says, school runs from January to December, but elections become very active. The general elections begin in September to around the date of election. So if there is a way that an institution is holding its activities or whatever the systems of an institution can be, and you come from somewhere and want to do something different, it's kind of hard to break the rock and to penetrate through to make things much easier. And also it depends on the beliefs of the community or something like that. How important is elections in UCU? What is the priority of elections in Uganda Christian University? So all these are questions that when you get to a position like I am in right now, you get to ask yourself, but when you get to try to do something, you realize that it may not be an easy way to go through. Like, it needs an entire process, an entire year maybe, for someone to actively participate and be able to put things right where necessary, which, however, is not, I cannot say that time is really there for an entire government, because a government has come and there is time period for almost each and every activity that is happening within the institution. So it is so bad that that is what is happening, but also I can say we are almost found with no option, because this is how far it has gone, and I can say many have tried to make it better, but it takes a lot, and it would need an look from up above, not just the government, not just the student body, but also the administration of the institution to also look into and see how they can prioritize this activity of the university.
Thank you so much. Now let's dive into the requirements of candidates to be in this electoral process. The application fee. Put some light on the application fee. On that application fee, for those that do not know about it, what is the required fee and where does this fee go?
Thank you so much. The requirement with regards to the fee, like you have just said, each candidate is supposed to pay 50 Ugandan shillings, and then for the presidential candidate has got a different fee. And the reason where this money goes is for the process as well. We have a budget as the Electoral Commission, and not everything that comes within the budget is from the guild fund. But this money that we get is for running this is a supplement to the already existing budget that is coming from the student fund.
Thank you so much. Honorable Monica, do you think the candidates should pay this fee?
I think it is.
What's your say on the fee?
I don't even think that it is necessary for any election you're going into. There is always that non-refundable fee that you have to pay for, because of course the process and everything that is going to happen, it is not church work. Of course, it will require resources. In any society, you must have resources to run anything. If the resources are not there, then it means you're not going to run it. Because if you don't give the EC resources, one candidate might come up and is willing to give the EC resources. So what are you going to do who cannot afford those resources? So sometimes that money is always necessary, and I have no problem. And 50,000, it is a friendly price for a member of parliament, because you cannot tell me that you've come for an election but you cannot even pay 50,000 shillings. But leaving that aside, I think Madam Chairperson seems also to have lost hope when it comes to numbers. Because she says she has tried and tried and tried. So if the East Chairperson has lost hope, who am I? not to lose more hope. But I think the East should have also, I think, a roadmap, putting aside the election roadmap, on how they are going to carry out civic education. Even if you say that in every week we are going to visit maybe one school or two schools, we educate them about civic education. It can work, because moving for a class, there are no resources that are going to be needed to be required to be moving around the N block, OK block, or M block. When you're doing the civic education, it doesn't mean that you have to first hold a rally. Civic education, you can even meet 3 people like we are here, and we start. And you motivate these students, but I think it's higher time we should start thinking about that, other than saying that we necessarily have to. You know, UC is not like any other environment. Actually, the environment we are in, Uganda Christian University, is not like any other environment. It's not okay. I can say it's not politically good. When it comes to Uganda Christian University, it has its own thing. So you must operate in a way that they have given you. But other than that, we need more reforms. And we need these elections. When it comes to elections, if they are saying campaigns, let's have campaigns. Don't restrict us. Let's have what they call campaigns. Not just talking to people. Let's have what we call campaigns. That if they are saying I should not have influence outside, then it means, let me come, I put here my rally, I start holding a campaign. With that way, I don't think even the candidates will be bothering to break the rules, but someone is saying, how am I going to get those students? They have lectures every day. Someone will be like, let me go and hire my musician there. And you, of course, you want to attract the numbers. So it is better we reform each and everything. But other than that, I just want to thank Madam Chair. She has done her best. We have seen the roadmap is out. though it has come out at a very inconvenient time, since students will be having coursework, and I see the presidential vetting is going to be there on 27th of October. Just imagine coursework is ending on 22nd. Imagine what is someone is having coursework, is also having election problems. So I think we are even going to, the EC is going to hire counsellors for the sake of the mental health of other candidates, because it is not going to work out properly, because someone is already stressed about the coursework and elections. And of course, when it comes to elections, by the way, it is a matter of do or die. People want these positions, by the way. I am saying this out of the experience I have and what I have seen. When it comes to guild elections, someone will be willing to sacrifice his leg. So, Madam Ita, I think she would have thought about it, maybe releasing the roadmap earlier, before the coursework week. I don't know how you thought about it, but I think it would have come out like a week before or 2 weeks before, so that by coursework week, these people have already talked to many students. That's all I can say.
Thank you so much. Just to draw more light and to what you just said, that's very true. The period of the roadmap has somehow fallen into the coursework week of mostly the Faculty of Law.
Yes.
If you can see, it's not generally the university coursework period, because as far as I'm concerned, engineering do their coursework towards the last 2 weeks towards examinations. So if the School of Law is not comfortable and then we change to maybe the last 2 weeks, then someone from engineering will say it's not comfortable. And then we have to also look at the Constitution provides for 1 month after school has resumed, and you still have to fit in things. So it's not just one thing that we sit down and see and you're like, now let's just do it the way we want. There are a lot of considerations that fall in there before we take it up, because very true, these are just new changes that have come with the School of Law, that we have a specific period of time for coursework. Before then, it was random, and the roadmap was not even looking into the same direction. So right now, if we are to consider which school, what, when, who is comfortable where and how, we may not actually have a roadmap that is out there that will serve everyone. But of course, in every situation, there is someone who will have to compromise. And unfortunately, the School of Law had to fall prey for this. But also, I know that if someone is ready to run for an election, they must have prepared from the beginning of the year, and they must have been strategic enough to see how they're going to put out their intentions out loudly. And the student body, of course, will a little bit be affected, but not generally, because it's one school. Though unfortunately, it's one of the biggest schools within the university. So it was not an easy thing to decide on which date how things happen, because you have to consider a lot of things in there. And that is what we have on ground.
Thank you so much. According to the requirements of the presidential candidates, they are supposed to follow Article 27 and 1. Could you put some light on that for the people that do not know about the article of the Constitution?
Article 27. 27. If you could permit me to get and read it to our people, but also So Article 27.1 says, in order to participate in the guild president nomination process as a potential candidate, student must meet the following substantial requirements: meet the requirements for guild member, parliament, of course, and it has at least an academic year and is registered, is willing to subscribe, and So these are just majorly the qualifications of the president. It's a lot in there. Your religion matters. I mean, we're in Uganda Christian University. It's also requiring that you must have, of course, been here for 1 year and more. we can't have a guild president from year one because you do not know UCU. We assume you do not know, and surely what would you be doing with guild presidency in your first year? So also to look at because there are requirements for a member of parliament. If someone can qualify for being a member of parliament, that person is already qualified for the position of a guild president. So all those are in there, and to be so, so loud, I'd request each and every one of us to participate in reading the Constitution if you're coming to run for a position, because it is very important. Sometimes people have come and they have been disqualified even when they just apply. Before they go into the vetting and all this process, people are disqualified because they don't meet this criteria, they don't meet this, they don't meet the other. So do not fall prey of submitting your 100 or your 50 or whatever fee that you're going to have to submit and end up being disqualified just through us reading your application.
You've talked about religion. Which religion is a presidential candidate supposed to be?
Anglican.
Anglican as a must.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like he said, UCU is a different environment and it's politically not habitable or something like that. I think more of UCU is, Uganda Christian University is the Church of Uganda. So everything that we are looking at, or the university is looking at, is someone who knows the values of everything that falls within the Uganda, the Church of Uganda. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Honorable Monica, any last words for the UC students?
Any last words for the UC students?
As they come close to the elections and the campaign.
For this election, I just encourage them to come and vote in very big numbers. The problem we have as we students and as we Ugandans, we take elections for granted. But politics determines everything in life, how you're going to dress, how you're going to do everything. So it is high time students should come up and they should start voting for these leaders, because these are the people who are going to, I may understand why UC students don't want to turn up for elections, because UC leadership, as years are moving on, it is losing significance. You will agree with me. But all in all, I can assure my fellow students, don't lose hope. You should have the hope like we the Christians have it, that Jesus one day he will come back. So I encourage each and every student out there, please come out and vote in very, very, very big, in very, very large numbers, because this year it is a special year. It is very special. I encourage each and everyone. We have even more competent people who are coming this year. So all in all, guys, turn up, come and vote, keep that vote. And when the voting is done, we shall see who wins. And
Let me
whoever wins,
interject.
we shall
Why is
support.
this year special?
This year is, every year is special, but of course, every year comes up with new things. And this year, there are new things. So we have, this year, we have new things. People have packaged, and soon people will be unveiling those packages. And I have much belief that this site is a special one. As I've told you, just keep a watch as you see Focus TV.
I'll be waiting. Thank you so much. Honorable Asunta, what would your last words be to the people?
Mine is also an encouragement and a plea to make to the community of Uganda Christian University. Please come and vote, come and participate. It is your right. You have to enjoy your right. If you do not want to enjoy your right for maybe because of the technicalities in there, okay, come and enjoy because you paid tuition. Yeah, because it is very necessary that you utilize your tuition. And also to encourage the upcoming candidates, wherever they are, whatever position, kindly comply with the electoral guidelines. Kindly look into the requirements for the particular positions that you want to vie for. But also, I request that we work hand in hand. The EC is not an enemy. You are not our enemy. We are working together for a better community of Uganda Christian University. Thank you so much, and may the good Lord bless you.
Maybe one last word as I conclude. You know, the challenges we have in most elections, sometimes the EC is overpowered, I can say, in some instances.
Why do you say that EC is overpowered?
Of course, it always happens. It is not news. But I hope Madam Chairman will be strong on her word, and she will make sure that she has an independent mind. Of course, we already have influence and pressure from other organs of government, but that always happens, and it can never be avoided in any country, let it be in the USA. But I have much belief in her, because as far as I've seen her, she's a very good lady, and she will deliver a free and fair election. Madam Chairman, I have so much belief in you, and I hope you don't disappoint us.
Thank you so much.
We have come to the end of this show. Thank you so much, Honorable Asunta and Honorable Monica, for the educative words. My name is Patience Among, and I was your host today. Have a lovely evening.
You are watching UCU Focus TV.